Hi, welcome guys, and thank you for being there. I hope that you're going forward with your coffee and your breakfast. Thank you, Alex, for warming up the session and opening the day after the intro. So here we are, the two of us with Albert for this new session around digital community and how this is the new standard. Let's present ourselves first. I'm Julien Palier. I'm the founder of Daysk, a startup that has been founded in Barcelona. As you can understand by my accent, I'm French. We are a SaaS company working in the office and real estate industry. And basically what we do is transform companies and offices into digital and small communities of people and professionals. And Albert is like the Goliath in this session. He is the head of innovation from Football Club Barcelona. Is running the Innovation Hub there. And he has incredible experience to share around how to build digital community. So let's get into this conversation. I think that we have like a lot to share about that. We propose you to do like a 30-minute fireside conversation without the fire, but with the virtual warm, and a 15-minute Q&A at the end of the round so that you have space for conversation and shootouts for questions. So Albert, maybe we can start also giving like an overview about what is Barcelona. I did some research this week online, and Barcelona is like a massive brand worldwide. You have already like a digital community of fun, which is massive, with more than 100 millions and more than that followers on 53 on Twitter, like 160 on Instagram and Facebook, and 1 billion interaction last year across all networks. But this is around entertainment. And I think that first, maybe it's important for our audience to understand what is the Innovation Hub in the Barca ecosystem. When does it start? And what is the mission there, especially?
Thank you, Julien. Thank you for the introduction, and happy to be here with all of you and sharing a little bit on everything that we do at FC Barcelona, and specifically on the Innovation Hub, which is something that is a little weird on the sports industry. It's not that common that clubs has these kind of projects, and because at the end of the day, it's kind of a mix of sort of a university, offline and online university. It's also a research center, and it's also a kind of a corporate innovation unit for the club, right? The project was launched March 2017. I actually joined the club 1 year before, first as an external consultant, helping kind of design the innovation strategy, and then joining the club to implement what was pitched at that time as external consultant, and actually developed the PowerPoint that they share, right? Again, launched in March 2017 with the idea to develop three main pillars of activities. The first one is developing research and innovation. So research and development, where we have a long-term vision on investing on, IP generation activities. And here we can go from sports medicine, biotech, also a lot of artificial intelligence applied to tactical analysis, also applied to human behavior in our stadium. So a lot of, I would say, long-term projects there. Then we have a unit, pure innovation unit, where we work with the startups, and we co-develop the products and services where we scout technologies, where we scout solutions, we scout startups that have a product that is already available in the market, has already been tested, the product market fit, but we think that we can help from a product development standpoint improve that specific solution, and then help those companies also on their commercial strategy by basically telling the story and how we participated in this co-development. So we kind of develop all these products and services, then implement them internally and help the startups grow. It's kind of a sort of I don't like to call it an incubator or accelerator, because at the end of the day we don't have a physical space where startups come in. It's more of a project-based kind of program, and based on the internal capacities or internal knowledge that we can share that we can embed into these products and services.
That was one of my questions, is that at the end, when we think about Innovation Hub, as you said, we think about incubators, no? They are locally placed or local somewhere, no? So in Camp Nou, for example, or stuff, you have a physical place, or you're having like a more distributed approach that can reach then globally, and already moving into something that is more virtual at the end and less restricted to a geographic area.
No, we have a vision that maybe in a couple of years we may have a physical space when we got back into our normality. But we started just on a project based basis. So some of projects we have the startup actually in our offices next to our physical trainers, for example, because we think that for that specific project it's needed. But we have other projects where where the startup is decentralized. It's also in the US, some of them. So it's not kind of it's not something that it's fixed. It depends on a project by project. But yeah, at some point, more thinking on the midterm, we're focusing on the more early stage startups. Right now, as I was saying, we are a lot of focused on, I would say, scale-ups. And the reason why is because we want to bring internal expertise, internal knowledge into these solutions, and then in 1 year at max, 1.5 years, implement those internally. So that puts us in a situation where those startups are already, again, I would say, more developed or in later stages, and also we cannot still not participate in more early stage, more disruptive stuff that we want to do it. And probably the next phase, when we have this space, will be more focused on that sort of solution, more crazy things to be built surrounding FC Barcelona. And then we have the third pillar, right? Which is, we call it knowledge sharing. And here we have, an activity of education activity. We have 9 masters being developed with different universities. Then we have 8 congresses running on a yearly basis, happening in a couple of weeks. Sports Tomorrow, we rebranded all of them as a Sports Tomorrow. And then we have a purely strategic focus on bringing all that into a digital platform. So we started as an e-learning platform, but with the vision to transform that as a digital space to be to have where the professionals of sports have the possibility to exchange expertise, to exchange knowledge, to educate themselves, to have access to specific insights that FC Barcelona can share, but also that third parties can share. So overall, the research and development more focused on a kind of a research center. The innovation activities with the startups kind of more of a corporate innovation unit, and the knowledge sharing activities more of a sort of a digital university.
From what I've seen, you had also like a proposal of a program and schedule of conferences, no, over the year. That was spanning across the agenda. Is this something that's you're gonna switch completely online also due to COVID, but also as a way to reach out to more people? What COVID has changed for you in terms of how you operate?
I mean, from a Barcelona Innovation Hub perspective, we were already a little bit flexible on work from home and being in the offices, but my team is kind of completely adapted fast to that. On the activities that we developed, we had a strong focus from the beginning on making everything digital. So our digital platform, is one of the key strategic projects, and where we kind of have more people working on. So that even the COVID in that specific aspect helped us. So we increased revenues in that aspect. So we got apart from that, education is kind of counter-cycle. And also the fact that it was already fully native digital, everyone were excited to join the platform. But let me emphasize one thing, because I think it's important, also linking to the title of the conversation. If you think about it, what we do at Barcelona Innovation Hub is actually having different sort of activities with an audience that is not kind of the traditional fan, where we have the digital department working a lot on how we can build a value proposition for them that goes beyond watching our matches. And we have a team that is developing that with its challenges and its difficulties. We actually instead work with the professionals of I would say the people, the audience that is willing to have a rational connection with the brand. And that rational connection with the brand, with Barca brand, is related to knowledge. And what we manage, our intangible asset that we manage, and we try to keep developing, sharing it, and then putting a platform from third parties to actually start interacting on the transaction of this knowledge, right? And that's kind of the vision that we are pursuing here.
And do you think it's harder to get professional to jump into this proposal in terms of interacting in a more virtual way? Are they as digital as the B2C or the more entertainment side of the activity of the club?
To be honest, we saw that at the beginning when we launched this 3 years ago, it was just an intuition. To be honest, it was okay. People want to know what FC Barcelona has to say on medical services. FC Barcelona has to say on physical trainer. FC Barcelona has to say on coaching player. We developed the best player in history. So people want to understand how we did it, right? And actually, I also explained this sort of anecdote where in age, if you like to do sports and at some point you just get injured for whatever, just small injury, just muscle injury, and you go to any doctor in Barcelona or even on the world, and you go there, if he has ever worked just one time as external consultant for FC Barcelona, that's the first line, the first title that he will put on his CV, right? That's an intuition. There is something there, right? And traditionally, people think of FC Barcelona as an entertainment company, and is the case. Majority of our core businesses are on that, right? But there is also something there, and probably if you think about it. From future, people are willing to spend sometimes more money than entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. Because probably there is, a kind of a desire there that you want to invest to actually have returns on your own professional career development. And that sort of a vision is where we put it in place. And we developed the first phase, which at the end of the day is sharing what FC Barcelona do, right? And in different formats, sharing with the startups in order to implement that in products and services, sharing with external research centers, hospitals to develop long-term projects, sharing with professionals or enthusiasts of sports that are willing to know behind the scenes. So all that, right? The challenge that we have now is how we move from, I would say, a pipeline business where we produce or outsource the production of a specific content based on FC Barcelona Vision. And that's an important point, because here we also experience tensions, right? Imagine that you are a brand that everybody wants to know what you have to say on different topics. And you, as a Barcelona Innovation Hub, what you want is actually give voice to third parties, right? In your platform, under your brand, but it's not you telling your story, right? So this tension in between, and on top of that, having a huge media exposure where everything can be, misunderstood, with everything can be, used at some point to create some debates on specific topics that are on the newspapers every day, right? But this is our vision, and we want to follow that. But we have to manage it, right? So in order to do so, again, we started with a bunch of e-learning, right? So e-learning for us was easy because it was easy. It was difficult to produce. At the end of the day, producing content, it's tough and it's not easy and it's expensive. But at the end of the day, we control that, right? And we are able to, to generate recurrent revenues that are coming back to the project, and we can grow organically right now. Instead of starting to say, okay, kind of the Coursera approach, or rather the Udemy approach, where everyone can start building their own educational content with specific guidelines, we decided to start with 2 parallel projects and keeping from now the education kind of premium fully curated, manually curated for FC Barcelona professionals. So still us, we're going to be producing the content. But on the content, on freemium content that we are willing to share, I mean, we are writing articles on a weekly basis, sharing not only what projects that we have, but also trends that we detect, success cases that we like, interviews with professionals. And this till now has been produced, again, also internally with a network of writers that we like and that they understand the FC Barcelona positioning in many different topics. But what we want to do is open this up, right? And we are right now launching a kind of a call for contributors where, you know, different professionals or enthusiasts of the sports will start to be able to publish their opinions, their views, their projects, their expertise into a specific section of a community voice section on the platform, right?
That's I think it's a really good analysis, no? If we can put it forward, it's like 3 different steps, no, into building a digital community. Is from going to the transactional, no, I can actually sell something to I transform myself as a brand in a media company, and I think we have already a good example, the one that you just said about Barca. If we look at other iconic example like Red Bull, how they transform themselves into a media company, into the sport entertainment section too, or even LRO with this event company that we'll talk later into the afternoon, no? And now it's going into nearly a social network, no? Is it if I cannot or don't want to produce only content myself, no? It's in a push model. I want to enable all my community to be able to provide, no, and to participate into that, and I will scale. No, this is the only way to really scale massively in terms of interactions, which is a challenge that you're talking about. No, I just don't want to be a producer. I want everybody to be a producer. But as you say, I think the next challenge is then how do you engage? How do you curate? How do you validate the quality of the content, especially if your audience is one that is even more picky? No, if you talk to professionals, which is the segment that you're tackling, it's even more challenging. No, with this vision of converting yourself into like maybe the first professional social media around sports. No, which is absolutely the vision, if I understand.
No, absolutely, and here.
I think maybe we had like a lock.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we are back. Yeah.
Back here. No, absolutely. I was saying that if you go right now to the barcelonasinnovationhub.com, you will see content, and this is made on purpose till this first phase. You will see purpose that is, I would say, deeper than traditional, inspiring content on sports. It's content that is based on, on papers that has been published, on projects that are, up and running, but we go deep on the details. And why we do that? Because for us, at this first phase, was important to gain credibility internally and externally, right? It's saying, look, with that platform, you are having access to a content that is going inside the club. So you are having exposure on what's happening on a day-to-day, and you want to have details, right? And if you want to know more, you will be able to actually connect with us and interact with us. But first, we are, putting this message abroad saying, look, we are opening up ourselves because we want to empower people, we want to empower institutions, we want to empower startups, professionals, students. And our challenge at the beginning was, okay, but we want to be kind of a forward-looking, more of a inspiring content. But and right now we are making this transition. But for us, was really important to at the beginning have this more deep content production space where everyone sees Barca Innovation Hub, kind of a place where all these different audiences. And especially the specialists of the sports who are really picky on because at the end of the day they make a living of their expertise, of their knowledge. So you have to be, you have to position it yourself as a space where you also kind of a strong curation and a strong kind of positioning on knowledge and sports. In terms of the audiences, which I think is also important because here we manage also different intentions, we like to say that our main asset is knowledge, but we develop products and services, digital products and services for 3 types of sub-audiences. The ones that we call the specialist, and here is intersection between science and sports. Then we have the managers, and here we have the intersection between business and sports. And then we have a third pillar, which is can come from one of the 2 audiences, which is the tech and innovator. At the end of the day, is those forward-looking guys willing to develop that technology applied to sports, and they can come from being an specialist, being a deep physical trainer that has a lot of expertise on training top athletes, or it can be a manager that just was managing whatever department of a company and right now just started their own business, right? With these 3 audiences, you will see that also we are facing a challenge on how we balance them out. Not only the products, but also the positioning, right? We have to be able to personalize the platform for I'm a manager, and then I just enter there, and my experience is based on what are my challenges, what are my needs, what I actually am willing to find into the platform, right? We're working on that direction, but also we have to, again, manage the tensions in between producing content for a tech and innovator and producing content from a researcher on whatever university in the world.
Mm-hmm. If I can do a parenthesis, I think it's a framework in the way that you're seeing it that is really like across industries. On our side, from Daysk, what we're seeing with our clients that are like real estate clients that implement our tools into their office building towers, or corporates that implement our tools to centralize all the services, the desk booking, the access to the restoration offering, or events, that was increasing in terms of deployment, because everybody was really willing to offer like another experience, an augmented experience of services and interactions into their space. Maybe the office tower. No? What we've seen with COVID is that there is an acceleration of trend that people are happy to do remote working and are not so keen into going back to the office in the short term, but also like the spread of the building of what was first the team building on site is now going online. And so all the companies are desperately looking at how to produce content that first will give the opportunity to the team to get back together. So building this digital community of coworkers, and then also finding a complement to that that will motivate people to get back to work on site together. So it's kind of an hybridation. And in the middle, the company is moving into the kind of steps that we explained before, which was I provide you the necessary steps for you to work well. To second, I provide you a better experience so that you are happier and more productive and feel engaged with the brand and the company, which is like more branding, more content, and now this kind of virtual hybridation of interaction that not only are local and on-site, physical, but are going digital. And we're seeing exactly that with the segmentation also of the audience. No, it says, okay, who is my coworker? Who is will be consuming what, when, and how? No, so the platform and the technology is important. The metrics in terms of how do we engage, what is the result? All the steps that you've seen. So I think the next question is from your side, and to dig into the vision that you have and the way that you prepare that. What are the next steps, to deliver on this vision in terms of growing your digital community and making it really like impacting worldwide?
No, at the end of the day, the vision, and I like to put it this simple. I know that it's simplistic and it's not. I mean, all projects has its own particularities, but in order to make it, illustrative, I would say we want to build the LinkedIn of sports, right? And that means, being the space where professional content in sports are shared, being the space where, you can go and find a job on the professional sports. You can have access to specific skill sets that are willing to achieve, etc., etc., etc. Where we are now is basically diversifying the products and diversifying the sources of the production of this content. I mean, content production is expensive, and sometimes you cannot reach all the experiences and all the case studies that you want to share there, because you have not presence in every corner of the world, right? So as I was saying, we have right now, in order to build this more of a community, digital community, we have two projects. The ones that I already shared, we are opening up, the publication of content with this call for contributors. We're gonna have a community space where everyone that is previously pre-approved based on a application that he will make, he will be able to to publish recurrently their content. And then we are also opening up a sort of a space where we're gonna be having content that is not educational content, but it's more content for professionals. And here we have all our congresses digitalized and being able to access to all those keynotes there. We have also a lot of content that we call it kind of professional guides, where we share more in deep, the state of the art on artificial intelligence applied to tactical analysis, or we have one specific on muscle guide. All this sort of content, it's more deep, or it's content that is it's willing. I mean, it's appealing for many professionals of the sports, but it's not purely educational. And here we are also thinking, or we are starting. We already have aggregating content from other third parties, right? From other conferences, from other professionals that are willing to share that. And here we are now right now testing it, sort of a freemium model where we have content that is available specifically for for our users, content that you can pay standalone, or even, which is the next step, is you just go get a subscription and have access to all of that, right? These two projects should merge into the final community space, right? Where you have access to all the content of all other institutions that we have in our network, and you have access to all of the professionals that we have in our contributor space, right? So at the end of the day, we will have a unique space where institutions and professional, individual professionals can have this functionality, this space, the digital space, where they can interact on a peer-to-peer, on institution to individual perspective, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the path that we are following, and in the next year we will be having all these two projects being implemented. For next season, probably after June 30th, we will be able to start merging the two.
So I was joking when we were preparing this talk together a few days ago, saying the first sport in Spain is soccer, and the second one is talking about soccer. So so in terms of platform management and content management, I think there is strong appeal now for everyone that think that he has something to say or a kind of expertise into the sports, no, and maybe being the coach himself. How do you put in place a kind of positive feedback loop in terms of I as a user can create my account, publish some content on your platform. This content will be like promoted, and I feel engaged, no, and also like rewarded because I have like the brand that is supporting what I'm saying, which is I think is really strong value proposition. But at the same time, you have to manage, no, like we said, the quality of it. And maybe then the scale, because if there is a massive volume of content that is there, then as a consumer of this content, I have to be able to filter or to find what it takes. No, so it's part of the challenge that you have to tackle.
No, absolutely. And here, when it goes to the user-generated content, I feel like our project, it's easier to manage than the one that the digital department is handling, because then there is passion, emotion. And when you are willing to, it's great. I mean, you can have a huge success, but with a club like us, which is, a complex club, manage all these this community of potential producers of content, you will have to have, a strong curation protocols that, enables to bring valuable content for the audience and for the rest of the community, right? In our case, since the fact that we are looking for a rational connection with the brand based on the professional expertise, we feel that our curation is going to start with the proper, personal branding of each of the professionals, right? Because they want, so if we're able to position it ourselves as a space where you can find a job, as a space where you can exchange, interesting expertise with other peers, your personal branding gonna be, the first step of curation. Of course, then we're gonna put processes and touch points where we're gonna be making this more, accurate from our point of view in terms of the type of content that can be shared and which not. But in that specific sense, I feel like we started, and since we are already positioning, especially on everything that has to do with science and sports, right? We started with this specific space in order to gain credibility, to position ourselves as a place where there is something premium there, something that it's not just talking about football. You have to talk about space creation, space generation, how we do it, etc., etc., etc. So that's kind of the approach on our side.
Okay, there's a few questions that are being posted in the audience that I think are really interesting. I'm gonna try to merge them, and two are connected to the content production. So one is about the format of the content. Did you already leverage specific content format like animation? No, that might be interesting in terms of producing rich content that will appeal to the audience.
No, yeah, the formats, we're gonna start again with that, and please understand our duty. We have, we have plenty of ideas, but we do want to go step by step, just because we feel the pressure that at some point we will make a mistake for sure, but our mistakes we can go on the press the next day, right? So we try to be, really accurate in terms of how we're gonna be managing the curation process, right? So we're gonna be starting with the contributor phase, with kind of a sort of I will again just to make it simple, but kind of the medium for sports, right? Where everyone can publish their write-ups. Explaining personal opinions, explaining personal experiences, explaining, personal projects, etc., etc., etc. That will be the first phase. Of course, we are willing to make it more and more and more diversified in terms of the formats, but we're going to be starting with that.
Okay, so written content first, and then maybe moving to more complex content, and tackling also or tapping into the potential synergies with other branches from the group, as the second question that was published now.
Absolutely.
You have an incredible infrastructure from the video production partners.
So absolutely. Absolutely. And here again, and here let me make the difference. What I'm saying is when the medium space is going to be the community space. The things that we produce from a pipeline perspective, so everything that we are experimenting with many different formats, with animation, with GIFs. You go to our Twitter, you go to our social media networks, you will find it. So we are willing to and explore many different formats, especially because we feel this duty to, since we already have the credibility, right now it's now to make fun of it, right? And bring new formats that are able to explain all that, in order to reach broader audiences, more the enthusiasts rather than the specialists, right? We want to reach the enthusiasts because at the end of the day, there is volume, right? So, and that's part of the party. So part of the party is basically how we're gonna be making, once we have this credibility, making all this content more fun, more attractive, with different formats that can be explored together with our Barca Studio guys, who are the production company of the club.
One question that we didn't tackle, but just popped up my mind also because of my previous experience working in several countries, is when you build a community that is de facto international, probably will be yours. Have you already decided that English is key, no? Even if FCB, Football Club Barcelona, is really well a Catalan figure worldwide. So how do you manage the multi-language?
It seems like something that is not core, but it's important, really important. We have right now people who sign up, or what we call our users. At the end of the day, people who at least enroll with one of our e-learning courses or products. We have more than 16,000 people with more than 130 countries. Right. Right now, everything is in 3 languages: Portuguese, Spanish. No, 4 languages: Portuguese, Spanish, English, and Catalan. When we are moving to more on the community voice, where we are right now, we're going to be focusing on English, because at the end of this, from an operational standpoint, it makes things much easier. Even though we are also aware that a lot of the football world, especially the coaches world, speak Spanish. So Spanish is a language of coaches. If you go around the world in a lot of locker rooms, even in the locker rooms of the Premier League, sometimes the Spanish is one of the main, one of the main languages used. So so here we have a challenge, but we're going to start with English, and then the idea is to transition to Spanish at some point as well.
Yeah, luckily enough, maybe now, as you have a more professional audience, at least, English is a standard now within the collective, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was an additional question that I think is really interesting. Also, it's more from a strategic point of view. Is doesn't FC Barcelona risk their competitive advantage in terms of knowledge by implementing the Innovation Hub? I think this is something where we can go a bit more into details, because this is a key point about the vision, no? Going beyond.
Thank you, Sarah, for doing this question, because it's one of the pillars of the vision of the whole project. I mean, we feel like the competitive advantage is about sharing, because we feel like that when you share, you are first learning from others. People can all have an opinion on what you just shared, and then internally you have pressure to keep moving forward, right? And then you can leverage also expertise from third parties. If you keep everything internally, you keep everything in-house, then you are slow. You will sometimes feel comfortable with your unique expertise, and you are not able to check your kind of developments with third parties. And here, we also see that as a way to develop, internal talent, as I was saying. As soon as we work with a startup, the 3 physical trainers that are working with the technical and the electronic engineers of the hardware that they are building, these 3 professional physical trainers that all their life has been working with top-notch teams and basically managing. Of course, they use some sort of technologies to do their development, but has never thought on how they can improve those technologies, right? So the startup mindset enters to these guys, and then keep proposing new developments. That, for me, is the competitive advantage, rather than just having something internally and applying a specific protocol to prevent injuries. No. In order to prevent injuries, we have to develop knowledge. We have to share it. We have to confront it with third parties, and then apply it. And if we apply it, that's good. That's great, and everyone can apply it. But the guys who are applying it are already thinking on what's next, right? So that's kind of a little bit on the vision. That.
Okay, and it's a good argument, no, to try to convince Leo Messi to keep being in the club, no? So you can have like a career plan in the innovation project.
No, and you feel it. At the end of the day, you think about it again on the 3 pillars. Yeah, it's knowledge, but then it's talent, right? So talent that you can build. And let me give you an example, because I think it's a perfect example that closes the whole circle, right? So we have a strong vision on that data science applied to sports is one of the verticals that we have to follow. The reason why is because that specific sector within the sports industry is going to be exploding in the next years. Sports tends to be a little bit behind in terms of implementation of technologies, just because it's a particular industry where there is a lot of uncertainty on if any player scores a goal or not. So that brings organizations to be a little slower on implementing technology. The things that we saw in other sectors in the last 10 years are starting to happen in the last 3 years in the sports industry, and one of these is especially data science applied to sports. And when I mean data science, let me focus right now on everything that has to do with tactical analysis or performance analysis, right? we just launching a master's with the UPC on data science applied to sports. Everyone that is going through this program, we are scouting talent to bring it to the specific department that we have on data science, that we already built our own software to manage all these Barca DNA or Barca metrics with our analysts and with our coaches. All these guys are going to be able to have exposure to all that. And then we're going to be able to, again, imagine that FC Barcelona can start, selling professional services to third parties, saying, look, I have people that I've been trained. I trained it. He has been working with our data science team. And right now, you're going to have it in your other club in whatever, in Mexico, in US. And I will send it to your club. And also I will send all the product that we developed together with the startup that is being used right now at FC Barcelona. So you are closing the cycle in between, talent development and also product development with that startup that we developed this product, and then also knowledge developing with these guys, keep contributing to how we can develop better the specific department, the specific project that we have at FC Barcelona, and with other club that we just brought the professional service to the other club.
Perfect. So let me try to wrap up. We have like a few minutes left. Try to wrap up our conversation with key topics to get and see if it works with you. So basically, what we discussed is that digital communities are like key, for the future of companies, and they help expand the brand well beyond geographic limits, reach a lot more engaged audience, and make them part of the whole value creation that a company or brand can have. The challenges there are defining well the audience, being able to really like make it grow and engaged through the creation of content, which at first may be something that the brand has to push by itself, but then in a positive feedback loop can be well fed and produced by the whole community. And for that, you need not only tools, but a strong strategy and vision to really break barriers, and also going well away from a single point of view that is me against the other, and building, like you said, like a new network of opportunities that feeds like some knowledge and opportunities of business. Would it be like a good summary of what we talked about? Or did I miss something in the middle?
I think it's a great summary, Julien.
Okay, so what would be then? What's the next steps for you guys at FCB in the next 6 months and 12 months? What could we expect as a concretion of the success case? Because I think this is an incredible story that you explain.
No, again, you're gonna see people. Of course, first in 2 weeks we have the Sports Tomorrow conference, and you have time and you want to check this out. sportstomorrow.fcbarcelona.com. There we have 8 tracks on the 8 main topics that we will always address. It's going to be a 2 weeks conference with more than 150 speakers from around the globe, from top doctors, physical trainers, nutritionists, coaches, managers, also data engineers, etc. So check it out. We're going to have Pau Gasol also having an opening keynote with all that. So that's the short term where we are now. Of course, we're gonna keep growing the digital space with more content to be shared, and also with more programs to get trained. On the innovation side, we're gonna be launching probably in the next months our first B2C product. We've been developing mainly B2B products, which at the end of the day makes sense, because at the end of the day we are developing products for institutions like us. But we see an opportunity to say, look, FC Barcelona knowledge can also be embedded in a product that can be, a mass consumer product, and that's something for us is key, is strategic in terms of saying, look, Barca's knowledge is also available for everyone. And on the research side, we want to keep developing, the projects that we have, which are more again long term, but we're going to be launching a couple of them that going to have probably media exposure, just because have been funded by the European Commission.
Okay, for everyone interested in knowing more, directly to the football club website official, and link to the Innovation Hub. Fantastic. Thank you very much all. I think we're just right on time. This is perfect. So see you soon and get in touch through LinkedIn. Bye-bye. Thank you, Albert.
Bye-bye.